Hey, what's up? So I have been planning to trade with my villagers, but I need some wood. So I will be getting some while I tell you some stories. Okay, first story. This guy hates his sister, so it might be interesting. My sister is severely autistic. She requires attention almost 24/7 and cannot be left alone. She is nonverbal and cannot take care of herself at all. Despite the fact that she is only 12, she is extremely destructive and violent and destroys anything she gets her hands on. I hate her. That should be wrong to say, but it doesn't feel like it. I was only 6 years old when she was born, and since then I've never solely had my parents' attention. Even since I can remember, the world has revolved around her. I was moved out of my room into the basement at 7 because she needed to be in the room next to my parents. All of my toys as a child were destroyed by her, and my parents simply ignored me when I complained. Even when I was 14 and she destroyed a Mac my school gave me, I was in the wrong. Along with this, I'm expected to take care of her and drop everything I do for her. I can never make plans with friend because my parents expect me to be there if they need me to take care of her. Even when I do somehow get time to myself, I am required to leave if they need me. If I do not, then I am punished. The recent example of this is when I went to see the new Spider-Man movie and was grounded because I turned my phone off in the theater. It seems as if I'm nothing more than a slave to them, and anything involving her simply overshadows me. This last week, I was chosen to give a speech at a school event. I was so exited and my parents promised to be there, but they never showed and claimed it was because of my sister. Anytime anything like this happens for me, they are too busy with her. I've held this in for so long and it finally spilled out today. While talking about colleges with my father, he joked that I should get a degree that pays well, so when they're gone, I can take care of my sister. I don't know why, but this caused me to break down. I cried and screamed about how it always about her. I'm nothing more than a caretaker to them, that they always make it about her, and that I'm expected to be her slave for the rest of my life. I've locked myself in my room since then, and my parents have not come to check on me. Am I the asshole here? I honestly think that this guy is in the right. Tell me, what do you think? Let's keep going with the second story. So, this guy asks, am I the asshole for telling my extended family how many men my sister has slept with after she outed our youngest brother as a virgin? We had a family dinner this evening. My family has 4 kids in total. Me, my elder sister, who is 29 years old, younger sister, no, 24 years old, and youngest brother, 22 years old. Extended family attended our family dinner, so all of our significant others, our cousins, aunts, and uncles, etc. During the dinner, my elder sister and youngest brother got into a mild disagreement. My sister seemed, at least to me, to be coming across as very aggressive out of frustration and losing said argument. The two of them were too absorbed in their argument to realize the rest of us were getting a bit fed up. Eventually, my sister got really fed up and said, "Shut up. I'm not going to argue with a 22-year-old virgin." My brother hadn't done any personal attacks up until that point. It was completely unprovoked. I think it might have been the alcohol, as my sister's a mean drunk. Anyway, I immediately told my sister to grow up and that she was making an embarrassment of herself. She replied by saying everyone knows he's a virgin and she didn't say anything wrong. This annoyed me, as my bro definitely has confidence issues and doesn't need to be made fun of like this. So I responded by saying how she slept with well over 100 men while she was in college, and that since everyone in the family knows this, it's not a big deal, right? Turns out her husband didn't know this amazingly. I genuinely assumed he must have known. He left the party angrily saying my sister mislead him about her past. Family is blaming me for their marital problems. I refuse to accept I did anything wrong. My sister bullied my brother in front of everyone. All I did was give her a taste of her own medicine. All right, let's continue with our next story. Am I the asshole for punishing my son after he said something racist? About a week ago, my family ordered Chinese food for delivery. When the delivery driver came to the door, my daughter was taking the cat upstairs to put in her room because he always tries to eat the food. My son loudly says, "Make sure to hide the cat from the Chinese guy," as I am at the door getting the food from the Chinese delivery driver. He very obviously heard what my son said and was upset by it. I quickly apologized and took the food. I told my son that racist jokes were completely unacceptable and very wrong, and he refused to admit that he was in the wrong. So later that night, I forced my son to write a sincere apology to the delivery driver, his name was on the receipt, as well as write a one-page paper on Chinese culture and a one-page paper on why racism is perpetuated by racist jokes and stereotypes. Then the next day, I took him to the restaurant and had him read his apology aloud to the delivery driver, as well as give him the papers he wrote. The driver was very appreciative of the apology and thanked me for making my son do it. He then told my son about multiple instances where he had faced racist comments and attacks from people while he was a delivery driver. That night, my husband and I got into an argument. about me making our son do this. He told me that it was embarrassing for our son to have to do the apology and that the punishment didn't fit the crime. I told him that it was much more embarrassing for the driver to have to face that kind of racism and racist stereotypes, and that our son would get over the embarrassment. I do not condone any kind of hateful thinking in my house, and the fact that my son said that embarrassed me as well. My husband told me that it was just a joke and it wasn't that big of a deal. I feel like I might have overreacted some, but I think it's important to help my son understand how what he said was wrong and hurtful. Okay, so the next story says, am I the asshole for telling my son he deserved his girlfriend breaking up with him? So my son had a long distance girlfriend recently for about 2 years. She was great, a really nice girl, and we all loved her, welcomed her with open arms. She was flying here constantly to visit him, like a weekend a month, and he didn't lift a finger to go visit her. I tried talking to him about it several times and told him he should really start looking into flying over to her instead of expecting her to do all the traveling. He said no. And my wife probably had something to do with it, as she constantly told him she was afraid of him flying. I spoke to them both and said this girl is great for him. She was willing to move over to our country too. I said there was one condition, and that was he'd have to fly over to her country too. Which is fair enough. He said no, he didn't want to fly or travel anywhere. My son was becoming lazier and lazier, eventually telling his girlfriend and us that he was perfectly fine, never traveling anywhere, including holidays, etc. Last week, he told us she's dumped him. I went on her FB page, as we're all still friends. She wrote us an apology letter about how she's upset it didn't work out, but these things happen, so we're on good terms. And looks like she's with a new guy already. Me and my wife have no doubt she was seeing him while still in a relationship with my son. I confessed to them both that I actually agree with her decision, and he should have expected it. He did not treat her properly, and I hope he learns lessons for the next one because he needs to make more of an effort. I said he deserves it for his lack of effort in the relationship and for essentially just allowing this girl to spend all her money and time coming here all the time. Wife and son are very upset that I said this. Very, very upset, and my wife says I am being horrible. Am I the asshole? I stand by what I said. All right, let's continue with our next story. Am I the asshole for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and two other guys share an apartment together, and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone's in charge of buying their own food, and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. This issue has been going on almost a year, and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work, and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on it, or my stuff finishes too quick. My gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like the taste, but it seems to finish after a week even though I've only drank once or twice. I confronted R about this lots of times, and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and R's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommates also had a similar problem, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing because R doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is, R buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tells us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again, and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work, and R is pissed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So, then you're the one who's been stealing?" He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted he was sometimes drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he'd just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got payback for stealing from us. And it's a little tense right now, and my roommate told me R is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know we're both looking to move somewhere else together because we are sick of his shit. I told some buddies what happened, and a few think I was an asshole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me TA? Okay, so here's the last story for today. Am I the asshole for telling my stepdaughter to go ask her real dad when she asked me to pay for her plane tickets? I married my wife Elise 12 years ago. She has a 16-year-old daughter, Anna, from her previous relationship, and we have a 7-year-old son as well. From pretty much the beginning of our relationship, Anna and I have never gotten along. I don't know how to emphasize that it is not because of a lack of trying.
Mm.
She just does not like me. When she was young, she was just scared of me and afraid I'd tear their family apart. Nowadays, it's more of a neutral dislike rather than strong antipathy. So I suppose that's progress. Elise is a stay at home mother, so she relies on me for income. As a result, I pay for everything for Anna: food, clothes, volleyball fees, field trips. I take an interest in her hobbies. I go to her games. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try my damn hardest to be the stepfather I can. But it's so hard. Always giving me curt one word responses, always having to have an attitude. She does things to get a rise out of me, staying out late, reeking of booze, always trying to sneak boys in. Typical rebellious stuff, but I always let her know I love her and I'm there for her in hopes of her shithead teenager phase pasts. The opposite is true for her biological father. She adores him. Can't tell you why. He's a horrible person. Well, anyways, Friday I came to her room to check her phone and read her messages. Not a permanent thing, but she's been caught sneaking out twice in the last month, so this is her punishment. I asked for the phone. She says, no, I'm tired of you checking my shit. Leave me alone. I tell her I'm not asking again, and she goes, just fuck off already. You're not my real dad. You never have been. Stop acting like you can tell me what to do. Before getting up and slamming the door, like I said, guys, I'm tired. Tired of the blatant disrespect, of being the verbal punching bag, while still providing more for her than anyone else in her family. We haven't really talked since until this morning during breakfast. She asked if I could pay for her plane ticket so she could see her boyfriend cross state. Like I said, her mom doesn't work and her dad is a POS, so I normally would be the one to cough up the money. Not this time. I responded, go ask your real dad. I could tell she was hurt. Tears swelled up from her face, and she excused herself from the table. My wife took me aside later and said my comment was extremely disrespectful. I said, if anything's disrespectful, it's her treating me like a doormat and a credit card, and I will no longer tolerate this treatment in my house. I told her we don't have to be friends, but if she can't at least be cordial to me or respect my position as an authority figure, she can find someone else to pay for her non essentials. Am I the asshole? All right, guys, so that's all the stories for today. Like this video and subscribe if you like them. See you in the next one.